Yeah. Okay. I've muted everything. It's all good. Hi, people. How's it going? How you guys doing? Hope everyone's well. I uh I sort of had something cool happen today. I got a new door on my studio. It's a solid Luan door, and it's heavy. Oh my gosh, it's heavy. And I put on a new accessible doorknob, and it's looking good. And it's a big, heavy, thick door, and I'm really happy about that because it gives me a better chance of keeping the noise from escaping. Not that what I do is noise, but uh, you know, it's all good. And so today's cup of coffee is sponsored by Not My Circus, Not My Monkeys. I love that saying. Yeah, so yesterday was kind of fun. We got some stuff done in the Gary Chaffee book, looking at the 2-to-1 ratios, and what that means is so like there's a triplet. You've got one triplet, two triplet, one triplet, two triplet. So if you've got two on the hand, you could go one triplet, two triplet, or you could go one triplet, two triplet, or you could go one triplet, two, let one, let two. You could do that. So then the bass drum has the same effect. So if you're doing two on the bass drum and two on the snare drum, you would do say like on a one triplet, two triplet, one, let two, let one triplet, two triplet, one triplet, two triplet, like that. And then the hi-hat with the foot, that's the one, and it's going to land on one of those divisions of the triplet. So one triplet, two triplet, one, like that. I'm starting out kind of quiet today because, I don't know. I just felt like starting out sort of down tempo and stretch my hands a little bit first. And what else? Oh, okay. I ordered some ProMark sticks. I used to use the 740, which is the Evelyn Glennie model. I don't know if you've ever heard of Evelyn Glennie. She's a deaf percussionist, and she's absolutely amazing. And she's got the coolest Scottish accent. And she's like a Scottish female Sean Connery, the way she talks. I could listen to her talk all day long. I could listen to her play all day long. She's badass. So, anyways, she has a stick that's it's hickory. It's as thick as a 2B. And it's got a small tip on it, kind of like a bolero almost, one of the Vic Firth SD2 boleros. But those are made out of maple, so they're really big sticks, but they're made out of maple, and so they're lighter. And hickory is going to be a much heavier wood for drumsticks. And anyways, I ordered a brick of those from ProMark, and I just ordered a couple of new cymbals. What did I get? I got a set of 14-inch HHX groove hats coming, and I got a 22 AAX thin ride that's going to make it here too. That should be interesting because I like that cymbal. I don't know if you guys ever heard it. I went in the Guitar Center the other day, just plinked around on one, and wow, it's a nice sounding pie, as they say. I like pie. Pie is good. And coffee's good too. And I will not put coffee rings on this snare drum. It just kind of begs for it, doesn't it? I mean, the color of it. I don't know if you can tell from there, but the color of this drum is kind of a cream color. It's less, like the stark white, like a coated head. So, anyways, enough yakking. I am going to revisit the practice pad. I'm going to break out the pad for a minute and just work on a little bit of flow. Get a metronome happening here. Metronome's always pretty much essential, and I have to tell myself. Okay, hang on. I have to tell myself, Billy, work with a damn metronome. Because otherwise, I am prone to not doing it. And let me get my sound together and then get my tempo. Okay, right there. So. Jeez. See, I got to get my head started. One. Shoot. That's where I screw up. Come on, Billy. 3 and 4. Come on. You could do it with paradiddles too. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's actually easier with paradiddles. Because the paradiddles, when you do a single stroke, you have to keep count of the 4 per hand, which is a task in of itself, and we all should be able to do that. But at the same time, with a paradiddle, what you've got is a rudiment that it's derived from 2 simple movements, and it's right, left, right, and then left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Think about a paradiddle on. Let me change camera views. And you know what, too? Hang on. Let's do this. That's a lot better. You can see over the drum a little more. I was noticing that you can't see my hi-hats from that angle. So anyway, paradiddles are derived from a simple right, left, right, and then left, right, left. Right, left. Hi, Jim. Left, right, left. Right, left, right. Left, right, left. That's not a paradiddle, man. But if you put a double bounce on that last one, it is. expect a lot of speed out of me today. And so therein lies, wherever there's a speed change, there's going to be like a threshold where you go from wrists to fingers. And so that's one of the things that I want to do is develop my incremental flow a little better via the practice pad. So here we are with mostly wrist strokes. My left hand's a little slow today. Chris Bell says, regarding the Mahler free stroke, etc., it only ever includes one hand, say for hi-hat work. What about two hands? So the other hand would come in between the up-down motions. In other words, out of sync. Hard to explain. The free stroke thing you're talking about is this, right? Let me see if I can dial in the hand a little better for you. So it's like that right there, and then oh boy, the cat. Hang on. One sec. Come on, you. Come on. Get in. Sorry, cat law. Oh, I know what you're saying, Chris. So, so basically, you're just talking about, I think the fast singles is just playing. And staying as relaxed as you can, because relaxation is what is important whenever you're doing anything. Try to stay as relaxed as you can. So, what the way I was taught, oh my God, she's messing with me today. Thank you. Dear. Okay. Hi, kitty. What are you doing? She's, yeah. So, it's, with single strokes, if you want to develop those faster, it just comes with working on the wrists. Like this. You get to a point where your fingers kind of start taking over. And so, I don't play match grip normally. Let me get my white bullet cat. Yeah, she's a deaf cat. Turkish van, actually. So when you play single strokes in that manner, from slow to fast in an incremental manner like that, it's kind of like doing a pull-up, like 1 inch at a time on a pull-up bar. I mean, that's that takes a lot of strength and it takes a lot of control. And so it is with the single stroke rolls like that. You can practice those. But getting back to the paradiddle, what you've got there is you've got a downstroke, an upstroke, and a tap. Down, up, tap, and then down, up, tap. Let me put the front camera so you can see. That's the wrong front camera. So down, up, tap, like that. Down, up, tap, and down, up, tap, and down, up, tap, and down, up, tap. Now notice here, I want to show you something. I'm not flying my fingers open like that. I'm coming straight back with the wrist. So you want to get a good 90 degree, pull your wrist back as far as you can, like that. Keep that stick at 90 degrees and keep the stick that's down about an inch from the head or lower if you can. So it's a downstroke, it's a tap stroke, down and then an up. Now listen to the upstroke. Like there, you hear it? That's the hardest thing to do as a drummer. Like that. Because it's so counterintuitive. I think that's the hardest thing to play properly. Because you're playing, usually when you make a strike, you're playing real close to the head like that. I mean, you're playing coming from up high, and gravity's taking it down. But here, you're doing an upstroke like that, coming from low to high. So it's a non-accented stroke, obviously. If you needed it to be accented there, you would use a full stroke, and you would pre-plan for that. So the way paradiddles work, let me just show you here. So it's down, up, tap, and then down, up, tap, down, up, tap, down, up, tap, like that. Now a tap double on the last one. Down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap, down. Like that. So you can actually go down, see, down, 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 up, down, down, up, tap, down. See. So it'd be, so it'd be down, probably, let's see, down, up. So it's down, 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 up. Let's see, down, down, up, tap, down, down, up, tap, down, 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 up, tap, down, down, up, tap, down, down, up, tap. Say down, down, up, tap, down, up, tap, tap. Say down, up, tap, tap, down, up, tap, tap, down. Let's see. For the double accent. That's something to work on. See, those mechanics get down into the base of what you're doing. That's like the machine language of playing the drums. Counting and working on your movements. Because if you can equate your counting with the movements and make the movements more efficient, it's like if you're building a wall, say just Legos for instance. You got a tub full of Legos, okay, and you're going to build a wall that, the imaginary car is going to crash through, So what would be the stronger way to build a wall so the Lego car is not going to crash through it? If you took all the little single pieces, like one singles, and put the little 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 like that all over, that would be a wall that wouldn't stand very strong. If you took some of the 4 bricks and put them there, those would be a lot stronger, wouldn't you agree? Because you can layer them. You could stack them over each other, and you can link them like a brick, and it'd be a solid wall. So that's what you can do with that. So the thing with paradiddles is when you're playing them, don't think 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 like that. Think about 1 2 3 4 1 1 left right left right left right left 1 2 3 4 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so on and so forth. So that way, when you consolidate all those strokes into that one package, you just put all those notes in one bag, and it's that movement overall, and that can give you a lot of flexibility on the kit as far as being able to It's kind of loose and sloppy, but you get the idea. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. That's paradiddle. Or you can, right, left, right, right, left, right. Right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left. And those are some of the things you can do with paradiddles. So if you're thinking paradiddles, this is just a dry. That's the way, they sound to people who just start playing them. That's the sticking. Now add the flavor to the sticking. Now move the accent to around the kit. And that becomes kind of its own thing. You can do paradiddle diddles. You can do a double paradiddle. Hey, I got something happening here. That's a double paradiddle. Para-paradiddle, 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 para-paradiddle. Sometimes I'm a little slow getting started. But I eventually catch up. My brain gets going here. And I realize I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore yesterday. So forgive me for that. It's clean somewhat. I mean, it's Aquarian Artist Day 2018. Sadly, I didn't go to that one. I went to the one in 2014, which was really cool. Now we'll be at the one this year. I promise you that. Love my Aquarian guys. All them. All y'all. Ay, ay, ay. Cold coffee. Good thing I got a warm one right here. This freaking tanker. This thing keeps it really hot. It's a clean canteen. I've been a big fan of their bottle or their coffee cups. They're easy to clean and they don't get all gummed up and gunked up. And some of those things just get nasty, especially the ones with the little seal around the inside, the gasket that goes on the top of the lid. Man, you pull that thing out of there. If you drink coffee with cream, ugh, God, it's nasty. I like a little creamer in my coffee, so man, it gets pretty ugly. So let's see, we're gonna do some 2-to-1 ratios on the high. We got down to 1 in bass drum. I was down to number 5 yesterday. If you're following along in this is Time Functioning Patterns, page 37, Gary Chaffee's book. It's exercise number 5. And my left foot's kind of stupid. I mean, it just doesn't want to do what it's told. It doesn't want to like adhere to the plan. So I have to struggle with it. So I'm going to struggle through some of these here, and you're going to laugh because that's why we're all here is to, Billy. Yeah. I appreciate your support. This is kind of fun. I really do enjoy playing and hanging out with you guys every day. So there's no accents written on any of these exercises. And what I'm doing here, in case you're wondering, is I'm playing, there's two notes on the snare. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. So I'm playing the exercise with a downbeat, the first note accented, and then I'm going back through it, and then I'm accenting the second note, which turns it into a completely different world. One triplet, two triplet, three triplet, four triplet. You're dealing with that second stroke, accenting the second stroke. Now, if you've played double strokes, or if you learn double strokes the proper way to play double strokes is to accent the second stroke. And then it just kind of picks itself up and runs, right? I'm definitely not the fastest, and I don't claim to be. But what I do is, because I've got four limbs, I can mix it all up and make things sound real dense and fast. I mean, there's some guys out there who, have killer hands, man. Oh, my God. One day, I don't know. I gave up a long time ago trying to be the world's fastest drummer. But I am the world's slowest drummer. You can look that up on YouTube. World's slowest drummer. I went 30 minutes playing 15 beats a minute. It's on there. It's the real deal. 1 and 2 and 3. I'm rushing. And 4 and did that for 30 minutes straight. Talk about watching paint dry. The reason why I did it was for the zen, pretty much. I wanted to just to see if I could do it. Like, I think I told you guys that one time my kid's mom went to the store, and I used to, like, when she'd go to the store or something, I'd sit down and play the same beat until she got back and not waver. This time she was gone nearly 3 hours. And so I played the same beat for 3 hours, solid, just to see if I could do it. And also to prove to, just to be able to say to my band leader, well, I sat on a groove for 3.5 hours, or for almost 3 hours last night, because they'd be like, you play too many fills, da 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 da. So I had to, like, kind of focus myself. Hey, Mike Catapano, love your playing, Bill. Great stuff with Paul Gilbert. But hey, thank you, man. Thank you very much. And thank you, Chris and Eddie. Yeah, one of my secrets, one of my only 2 chops, and I keep a third chop in my shoe as a spare in case I get stuck somewhere and don't have one. That's the same thing with brain cells. Keep just 2 so I can rub them together, get a little spark. Keep a spare one in the shoe in case I lose it. So there's that. Let's keep forging ahead on these. These are fun. They're tricky. I mean, these are, like, really tricky. Some of them are. This is the second half of the page on number 5. So the snare drum pattern is going to change slightly, and so is the hi-hat pattern. So we've got 1 on the bass drum, and we got 2 on the snare, 2 on the hi-hat. And we're basically going to invert those things. So this is what it's going to sound like. some of those get a little tricky. The hardest part for me is keeping up with what's going on in my mind. And let me give you like sort of a breakdown of what it is that I'm feeling there. Okay, so I did a lot of blues gigs in my time. You know the old double shuffle. So playing that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, or playing it backwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, let 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, triplet 1, let 2, let 3, let 4, like that. Playing that last note as an accent. Like I said, that changes the whole flow of things there. And it's just a matter of getting everything to line up. And so I start equating things, especially in triplets, to like blues licks. Now, as you know, a shuffle, if you slow a shuffle down like this, triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 1 triplet, 2. So it's all based in that triplet flow. So it's, since this is kind of like the native rhythmic grouping that we're playing within. Equating it to a blues thing is something that I've managed to do here, and to put some sort of a musical connection on it, that's where I'm always gonna fall. I'm always gonna try to go the musical route, which sometimes doesn't serve the exercise on the page, because my brain wants to take it and run with it in this direction, and it's like, nope, that's not what's being played. So have to reel myself back in and go and refocus it. And like, some of these are a lot easier than the others. Like that first one, 2, 3, 4. Because you got the 3. But on the next one, there's no bass drum on the beginning of that to anchor it. So what happens is I have to change the anchor point for the downbeat to my left hand. Like that. And then my left foot wants to get in on the action and go, And all of these are based on Swiss Army triplets at this point. So when you're playing 2 and 2, 2-2 ratio over triplets, everything's going to be based upon a Swiss Army triplet. Swiss Army triplets are cool. Basically what you got is both left, right, both left, right, both left, right, both left, right. So this is like 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4, let 1. You could play Rosanna with that, And it sounds like a more fleshed out Rosanna too. It's not how Percaro played Rosanna, which was like, I'm playing it slower. You got the Bo Diddley bass drum. Bum, 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 bum. So that's kind of a Rosanna sort of thing, and I'm not trying to play it as fast as the record at this point, which I could very well do it. I could play it faster than that, but I'm trying to slow everything down, because a lot of times when I'm in a teaching mode, I start getting ahead of myself. And so I'm trying to reel it back a little bit. And anyways, to play that with a Swiss Army triplet. So a little faster. Let me turn this off. So I keep like reverting back over to the Picaro thing with a single note in it, because I guess that's what my hands want to do today. But that Swiss Army triplet, you can hear it in there. It's adding that extra snare, little bit of snare flavor to the whole groove. Speaking of snare flavor, I just want to torque this up just a little bit. And still playing with the range of this thing. Yeah, I like this drum. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just turned the double around. So. That's a Swiss Army triplet. That's all that is. What's that song? Soul Vaccination's based upon a Swiss Army triplet. Let me play that kind of up to speed. That was a sloppy version of Soul Vaccination, but anyway, the groove for that is a. So it's a right, left, both, right, left, both. Right, left, both, right, left, both. One, and a two, and a. One, and a two, and one, and a two, kind of getting on a tangent there. That's where focus comes into play. It's so easy to take something that you're working on and kind of stretch out and go off into left field. So that's exactly what it's good to do every now and again, to just sort of step back and maybe discover something and find something, because ultimately that's kind of how you develop chops, is to, put things against each other and try them out musically. You know how we learn the ABCs in English, right? We sing them. And it's that musical concept that makes the learning stick. So when you come up with some sort of melodic cadence, something that you can play along to that's a melodic thing, you can convert it to that. But then that takes a little bit of it's like it becomes sort of the chicken or the egg sort of thing. Well, the self-discovery part of playing drums, when you're sitting down and just, rocking out and finding things to do and finding cool licks and all that, that's good stuff too. But you also need to focus on playing foundational things. It's like being, a long-distance runner. You can't not go out and, sprint and develop things. You have to work on that, concentrate. You have to go to the gym and, push some weights. You have to, keep your muscle tone together. Same with being a drummer. Really, I mean, anything that requires, like, that kind of physicality or whatever it is that you do. If you're a coder, you've got to stay up on the latest release of PHP. It's at like 7.5 now or something, 7.4. But you got to stay up on that stuff. You have to read the conventions. They have new features that come out. There's all kind of new things that happen. If you're in the healthcare business, especially these days, nature's damn scary and throwing us curveballs left and right. So that being said, okay, go back to number 6 now on the 1 and bass drum. So we're going to exercise the third inversion of the hi-hat and snare part, which would be 1 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Let me turn this off and turn on the metronome. Some of those are tricky, man. Wow. Yeah. So you'll notice what I have to do here is I have to like get 2 plates spinning, and then I add the third plate. It's kind of how it is, if you're juggling plates. So, but we're not juggling plates, and there's nobody going to get hurt doing this unless I stick myself in the eye with a stick, and you don't want to see that happen. Or maybe you do, but I try my best to not do that, which has actually happened to me before, and it sucks. It hurts. I clocked myself in the eye twice. That's actually why one of the reasons I wear glasses now is it's a protective barrier between the tip of a stick and my eyeball. Jeez. Oh, man. So, all that being said, these are very challenging concepts, and so I have to break it down and do 2 elements at a time. And when I see how 2 elements at a time fit together, then it's generally pretty easy to jump in and add the third element. And so I have to look at the interaction between the bass drum and the hi-hat with the foot, and then I have to look at the snare drum and the hi-hat with the foot, and then I have to look at the relationship between the snare drum and the bass drum. So, how everything all fits together, it's all points on a line. And this is pretty much just training, yourself to be able to react to those points on those lines. And a thing you can do, if this is confounding to you, I recommend going in and really practicing, like, counting out loud. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Whatever it is that you're playing, you should try to count it out. If you're playing, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 E, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and a 4 and 1. And being able to count where those points on the line are, it's kind of a mark of knowing where each of those positions exist. When you first get into playing this stuff, before the BC, before counting, as you start playing, it's like you see that, it's like kind of like you develop, the ability to do this right here, but you don't know what you're doing, right? You just know this sounds good and this is a drum beat, easy drum beat, And so it's kind of like driving down a road, because you get into that zone and you can play it and it's free flowing, and it's like driving down a road, and there's stuff off to the side of the road. There's things back there. There's things to do, but you don't know how to get there. So the better, when you start counting, you start counting like, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's like you instantly put in like street numbers. And so all the driveways that you pass, that are inaccessible, you don't know what is. You assign them a street number. You assign them, some sort of identifier that makes them easy to find. So, that being said, when you discover that part of it and discover the addresses, it's easier to find things, right? I mean, kind of where you are a little better. If somebody said play the and on the bell and the 2 and 4 on the snare, so with a 1 and 3 kick, so it'd be like a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Or if they said play the E-ah on the bell with the 1 and 3 on the kick, and then the snare drum on 2 and 4, 1 E N 2 E N 3 E N 4 E N 1 E N 2 E N, or the E-ah, 1 E N 2 E A 3 E A 4 E A 1 E A 2 E A 3 E A 4 E A 1, like that. So it's knowing where those things are, and then as you get into it, you learn how they sort of work emotionally, how they can, mess things up or trip up a dancer. I used to do that when I was playing in the disco band. I'd be playing along some groove like this. It'd be going. Throw in something like that, but that kick drum still maintains the pulse. So I don't want to, syncopate things and throw them completely off. Well, sometimes you do because it's pretty funny. Evil Billy. So anyways, that's some insights on things. Swiss Army triplets and grooves and counting. Counting is really important because if you think about it like this, counting is a form of measurement. So if you're playing a tune and you're not counting, it's kind of like somebody who comes over to put in a new door or something, and they just look at the door and they say, that looks like it's about 36 inches wide and looks like it's about 79 inches tall. So they take it in and they use those particular dimensions and they bring the door over, and it turns out the door is too short and too wide. Copy Neil Peart a lot. I don't really know what I'm doing. For the last year, I've been doing Trinity College exam stuff now, and some books feel so much better. Yeah, Chris, there's a book called A Funky Primer. And that book, when I started playing at a very young age. But up until the time I was about 20 or so, I was not focused. I was good at what I did. I was sort of a feel drummer, I played by feel, man. I didn't need any of that printed stuff to drag me down, man. But that printed stuff, it's basically instructions that teach you how to that allow you to access people's musical ideas. And instead of thinking of it as written music, think of it as some sort of a graph or, set of instructions that are, sort of arcane, and you have to know what you're looking at in order to read them. And I recommend reading standard notation. Stay away from drum tab. Stay far away from drum tab. Drum tab it's useless, because you can't pass a page of drum tab over to somebody who's like in the bass player or the guitar player and say, here's the rhythm written out, because all they're going to look at is see a bunch of zeros and ones. It's like giving like a horn player a tablature chart for the guitar. I mean, it's he's like, well, what do I do with this? I don't have any fingerings, so I don't know it. I have different fingerings here on the 3 keys, and you've got 6 strings. So, drum tabs. Spend the time to learn notation, just standardized notation, and it's portable across all instruments. Even as musically illiterate, and I say that with a grain of salt, as I am, to other melodic instruments and stuff, I can write out a rhythmic pattern in standard notation and give it to somebody, and they can read it. And oftentimes, or they can write something out for me and say, here's the rhythm, and just to be able to look at it and say, okay, well, that's kind of cool. Greatest guitar play-along songs. Saturday Night Live? Is that a skit or something? So, which is harder to read? Oh, the tab is harder to read, huh? Yeah, I'm assuming that's what you're saying, Chris. I find that tab is, I can't read it, and you would think that I would be able to read it, being as I used to have students who would come in and bring it to me, and back in those days, I was just such a snob about it. I'm like, no, I'm not going to read it. I didn't have an open mind at all, but I also dragged them kicking and screaming into reading standard notation, and most of them thanked me for it later. It's just good. It's a good thing to know, your quarter notes and your eighth notes and sixteenths, and it's not that hard to figure out. It's just when you start getting into like the mixed metrics and stuff, like playing in 3/2, which is basically just, that's another thing, shifting into the low gears like that, where it's like the half note gets the count. Yeah, that's a whole different area. Like I never shifted that far over. I always tried to equate it to 4. But if you're in any kind of formal music education, especially a lot of church charts and stuff, they're going to have passages of 3/2, and then different things. That's where I learned to play charts, was playing in a church group for a while. I learned to read on that gig, because it was like sink or swim, man. You're going to either do it or not, and so I had to figure out how to read real quick. Like I got a call one time to go to somebody called me for a gig at Croce's in San Diego and said, hey, so can you come down and do this Latin jazz thing with us on Wednesday nights? He says, the gig's open. And I was like, yay, Croce's, $50. That's all Ingrid would pay is $50 per man. It was kind of, it was in the 90s. And anyways, I guess it was like that back then. But so we would do the gig at Croce's, and what happened, the way I got the gig was the guy called me and he says, hey, can you play Latin jazz? And I said, sure, I can play Latin jazz, and hung up the phone with him. And I was kind of like, oh crap, I better go learn clave and how to count this stuff and figure it out, because I'm going to be thrown to the wolves here on the Lobos on Wednesday night. And so I went in and practiced, rumba clave and son clave and just some, Kescara and stuff like that. Got the rhythms down and went to the gig, and pretty much kept that gig for 5 years, which just blows my mind, because, I was just the freaking, I just, I had no sabor at that point. I mean, I had my playing, and I would eventually end up morphing into my interpretation of something. But a lot of times in that Latin jazz stuff, the rhythms are very, very strict. If you flip the clave around on somebody, that's like turning around the 2 and 4 on the, in a song, and it makes them nuts. Because the one guy who was on the gig was Jack Costanzo. He's Mr. Bongo. He was Frank Sinatra's, Nancy Sinatra's bongo player, and he was like a big deal. And, he had done a lot of cool stuff in his life, and he was like 85, 90 years old. So I managed to piss him off many times by not knowing, and trying to play. But that was a tough gig. But I also learned a lot from it, and we had a good time. That's what counts. And I made $50 that night, all those nights. Yay, $50. The sad part is I had to drive down from Orange County to downtown San Diego, which is like an hour and a half. But the cool part was I was working as a drum instructor at the original OCDP. So put that in your nostalgia pipe and smoke it. All right, so I think it's time to play a tune or something, because I'm growing rather bored with this stuff right now. I think that we touched on some good stuff here today, and I got some good reps in on the one and bass drum segment. And yeah, we're just going to keep carving through this book. I'm just kind of jumping in at this particular point. There's many other things to do. There's always things to do. The cool thing about practicing is that the more you learn, the less you find out you know. And that's really a neat thing, because it keeps you focused, man. Okay, so what are we doing? All right. Let's see. I'm going to do did some of that Jazz Pistols yesterday. Let's do some this is Gianluca Grasso. I met him on a Compose site where I do a lot of tracks. Haven't done them lately. I need to get over there and check on my peeps and do some playing. So I met him over there. This particular tune is called Dung. Like dung, like poop. So it's funny. Okay, let me go play it. Yeah, that's some fun stuff, man. When I can hear things, I can stay right in the middle of the road, and it's nice. There's no click on this. I'm not getting any click. You're hearing what I'm hearing. So, let me go play another one of his tracks. It's actually kind of fun. I'm enjoying playing today. Not that I don't enjoy it. Some days it's easier to, sit down and clear my mind and go. Today is one of those days. Just feels good. Okay, which one am I doing? This one's called Dizziness. I think there's a drum solo in this. And there's no click. Got a little bit out on a limb in a couple of places, but managed to hold it together for the most part. Ay, ay, ay. Yeah, it's a tricky song. It's in 7 mostly. It's, it's got a flow. I like this. I like stuff like that. He wrote a really crazy tune. It's not really finished yet, but it reminds me of Tribal Tech. Very musically, like, kind of bizarre. It's in 5, and it's one thing. Good Lord, man. I remember working on that tune, spending hours in the rehearsal hall just tracking it and running it and listening, This is back in the day before I knew what I was doing, or I still don't know what I'm doing, but it's before I knew what anything about putting, a timeline on the computer and looking at it, seeing everything in a DAW. What I was doing is I was tracking to the memory chip on my R16. I had 2 R16s rigged together, and I was tracking on both of them, and I'd have to take the chip out of it and put it in my computer and read it, and then throw all that into Audacity. Then I would sync that up with a video. Talk about a PITA. Now I've got freaking this, just to be able to change perspectives and, even a foot cam. I don't have my book cam right now. But the cool thing is Zoom is hooking me up with 4Ks. So I'll have a new camera later this week, and then I'm going to send 3 of the cams back. I got the RMA. They're going to send me 3 brand new Q2 and 4Ks. So I'll be streaming in high definition. You guys will see all my nose hairs. Uh-huh. Yeah, buddy. So, well, another song? I think so. I was hearing that Simeon song, Ain't Nothing Bad About Love. I love that tune. I don't want to play it today, though, because I played it the other day. I'd rather not. Try to play things that are a little more... I need some more music to play along to. I really do. I need to find some tunes that are fun to play. This one's called Sequester. It's by Simeon. Some of you may have heard it. It's a cool song, and Simeon Flick's music will send you running for a dictionary if you read the lyrics. I mean, the man is a master linguist, a cunning linguist. Very cunning, very masterfully cunning. So he's a good dude, San Diego guy. We played a bunch of gigs together a long time ago, and just turns out that I love his music, and he lets me play along to it. He gives me the clearance. He gives me the clearance to do what I wish with it and to broadcast it, and hopefully somebody goes and listens to the rest of his stuff. Yes. So we're going to play it right now. Well, here goes.
Trapped in a corner, you say I laid the break myself, been called a loner, and you say it's been bad.
I'm going to start it over again. You know why? Because I feel like I'm rushing it. I am rushing it, aren't I? Yeah, I was rushing it a little bit. So, once more with relaxation.
Trapped in a corner, you say I laid the break myself.
Yeah, that's a fun song. Simeon writes fun stuff. I like it. Alrighty. Well, I guess a Jazz Pistol song is not out of the question. I played Moby Dick yesterday, and I'm going to play Bugs right now because this is a fun song, and it's got some fun parts. That's a cool freaking tune, man. I like it. I like it a lot. So, Jim happened to be down to a half a roll of toilet paper, huh? Look, I'm going to tell you guys something, okay? Just don't even question. Just go do it, okay? Go search bidet toilet seat on Amazon. And a good one's going to be about $300. But I'm going to tell you what, man, it's a game changer. It'll pay for itself in toilet paper, trust me. You won't have to go run out at night for toilet paper. You don't care, cuz and toilet paper will never be the same again, because you're going to feel so dirty. It's like this thing just, oh man, it blasts everything off and puts it where it needs to be. Just completely cleans you up. Since we're, shit talking, there it is, right? So, bidet toilet seat. I've got the Bio Bidet BB600. It's about $300, $313. Get a Toto. Toto makes good stuff too. The next one that I get is gonna be it's gonna have a continuous heated water. It's gonna always have a flow of hot water, because if you run yourself out, it's got a little tank in there, and it, warms the water, so it's not like you get shocked with cold water. I mean, you could turn the heat off, but I prefer mine to be warm. It's kind of cool. You hear the little thing come out. It's like, you just know what's happening. You know what's about to happen. And all of a sudden, warm water. Woo-hoo. It's a good thing. It's really cool. I mean, the whole, that was when we went to Japan, and I had never seen one of those seats before. I was kind of like, man, I've heard about these things. I get in my hotel room, and of course there's one. And of course I had to try it out. And man, when I did, it was like, forget it, man. I'm getting one of these things. Game over. So it was either that or put in like an expensive bidet, and that's so like, why would you do that? Just get a toilet seat that does it. So anyways, I think that's going to be my my gig for today here, guys. I got a surprise coming next week. Yeah. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's cool, though. It's cool, and I'm not going to say. It's going to be here next week. It's going to be neat. And but anyway, tomorrow I think we'll same bat time, same bat channel it. I'll be streaming and screaming. At any rate, I appreciate all y'all coming in today. Eddie, Jim, Chris, my regular guys right there. Mike Catapano, hello. Thank you for stopping by. That was really cool. I don't think I've seen you here before, but I sure appreciate you coming. And thank you guys for pushing me towards the Gary Chaffee stuff again. I've forgotten how infinitely cool this is. There's a lot of layers to that onion we could peel. A lot of interactions. So we'll start delving deeper into those. And I think that's gonna pretty much do it for me today. I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my evening. If you're looking for a new series, there's one called 000 on Amazon Prime, and it's about 500 tons of cocaine and the transit that it has to endure, and all the people around it, and all the lives that get affected by it. It's pretty deep. It's done by Canal and Sky, so like French and British, and there's a lot of subtitles, because when they go into Italy, everybody's speaking Italian. When they go into Mexico, everyone's speaking Spanish. When they go to, anywhere else, there's a lot of French. It's multilingual. and it's really good. There's 8 episodes. It's almost done. I'm almost done watching it. Watching the final one tonight. So, anyways, that's that. And I bid you all adieu. And may you have a good night. And peace, love, and chicken grease. Or should I say joyeux amour et schmaltz? I don't know. I'm not very lingual. When I went to Paris, they told me, you know how they kind of demand you speak French in Paris, right? Well, they explicitly told me, don't butcher our language anymore. Just speak English, damn it. And so there you go. That's that. Well, I'm out of here, guys. Thank you very much for stopping in. We'll do this tomorrow, and we'll have fun. Or, we're not going to not have fun. So we'll figure something out. And, alrighty. Take care, y'all. I appreciate you very much. And,